How the fuck am I supposed to get rich when this job can barely pay rent? And all my money spent on chasing rap dreams, the American dream. Though it seemed to keep a nigga broke, like I'm a joke, keep laughing. I'm about to throw society an uppercut, like bitch I'm coming up. I know my rap's nice, I spent long nights perfecting rhymes, like I'm next in line. Kicking mad game to caress your mind. I'm a 93 baby, my game slide in that.
Queen,
let me turn this music down.
what is playing in the living room?
That is TheGuySolomon, and this is his track, Pennies on the Dollar.
Okay.
I really like this vibe.
Okay, Pennies on the Dollar. Is it streaming on all the platforms?
Streaming on all platforms, and you can search him, TheGuySolomon, or on Instagram and find him that way to find where all he is streaming.
All right, then. Okay, yes, ma'am. I was about to ask you something. I couldn't think of what it was. Look at us on our weekly grind.
Yes.
Busting out these podcasts. It took us a year, but we are here. We have grown. We are giving y'all these podcasts on a weekly basis. Y'all are welcome, because it is quite.
Y'all know we will lie and say see y'all next week and not be back for a month or two.
It is quite the grind. Okay, it is quite the grind. But it took us a whole pandemic to sit our asses down and be ready with these podcasts every week. But I'm proud of us. This is week 3 in a row.
Yeah, I think so. We're on episode 23.
Yes, ma'am.
Check us out. It is our Michael Jordan episode, basically.
Okay, yes. All right, people. Aisha has some good things to tell you about. Updates on our good giveaway.
Oh, yes. The All Black Owned giveaway, as y'all know, is in full effect now. We have launched it, guys. It is live. Yes. So if you are trying to win All Black Owned things, y'all better get in there like swimwear, okay? So you got to go to our Instagram page that's at livingroom44_40. Find the post that says giveaway and you will enter on there. You got to tag somebody that you want to join in.
Yep.
Comment an episode that you love, like us, repost the flyer on your story, and tag us so we can see it. And you're in there, y'all. We still have new things coming in every week. So far, we have candles, we have swimwear, we have pins.
Yes, granola.
Barbecue sauce. Girl, okay.
Pins. I live for a good pin. When I saw them pins, I was like, oh, you know what? And it's on and popping.
Yeah, and that particular Black-owned company, Greedy Arts, is in North Carolina, actually. So
that's dope. Cool. Yeah, that is dope.
Yeah. So, yeah, get in there. We have more packages coming in the mail this week. I don't want to tell y'all. Y'all just got to be surprised when y'all see it on the Instagram. So keep your ears to the streets.
You know what?
Y'all know when the pack touches down.
You say y'all. You do say y'all a lot. I just heard it like 3 times.
Well, y'all.
4.
It's just what it is. It is what it is. Okay. I say y'all a lot. I don't know what to tell y'all.
All right, yes, ma'am. Okay. Is there any more housekeeping business, or are we ready to hop into month in review / look back at it?
Let me just go ahead and slide in a quick, very, very happy birthday, happy solar return to @Hambino and @Lovin' We have 2 wonderful people celebrating birthdays. Actually on today. So by the time y'all hear this, y'all can go ahead and hop back to them on Instagram and wish them a happy belated birthday.
Yes.
With all the love from the living room.
Yes.
Y'all are our family, y'all are roommates. We're grateful for y'all. Happy birthday.
Absolutely.
Hope you're enjoying it the best quarantine way you know how.
Okay, absolutely. Or, you could pull a good Aisha and Kira and push it back to another month.
Yes, I might have to push mine back even further because it's not looking great. But as for right now, it is November 16th.
Okay. Oh, November. Okay, I thought it was September. That's even better.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. All right. Well, then in that case, let's hop into the good things. I think we both have 2 month in review and or look back at it topics for
yes.
Okay. All right.
Would you like to start?
I absolutely. I'm already talking. I might as well, right?
Go ahead, friend.
Alrighty then. So, first on the docket is Asheville reparations.
Okay.
Okay. So, by unanimous approval, a measure was passed by the Asheville City Council to divvy out reparations. Now, it won't be direct payments, but they are attempting to use funding to increase home ownership, business ownership, career opportunities. Let me see. I have my notes on 2 sides of my paper. I did not write these well, but let's see. Oh, here we go. Money will go to affordable housing, businesses, like I said, home ownership, career opportunities. Okay, cool. I just want to make sure I got everything. But no direct payments. They want to help create generational wealth. They also apologized for its sanctioning of slavery, and also, if I'm not mistaken, they apologized for the ways in which they have contributed to discrimination against African Americans. And actually, just to give a little bit of history of reparations, the first place to, or the first municipality to commit public funding to reparations was Evanston, Illinois. They are going to use tax money from the cannabis industry to contribute $10 million to the program. Now, $10 million doesn't sound like a lot. And of course, that's just one place, one step. Also, Providence, Rhode Island, passed an executive order to commence truth-telling and a reparations process. I definitely thought the truth-telling part was very important. It gave me Black Panthers, you know what I'm saying? Gave me Black Panther-esque ideology, philosophy. And also California, the Assembly passed a bill in June to create a task force to develop a reparations proposal. So that's just some cities and places in the United States that have done some things to try to get the reparations popping, which we've talked about reparations on this podcast before. And actually, as we have said from our very first episode, that we are ever evolving, ever changing. My stance on reparations has changed. When we talked about it the first time, I was like, I think there should be some like financial, literacy beforehand. And now I'm like, you know what, fuck that. Give these people their money. I don't give a fuck if you buy a Benz with it. That's your motherfucking business. You know what I'm saying? Like, and then also on my Ibram Kendi shit, I'm like, I think it's racist for me to just assume Black people don't know how to use money, because I myself am a Black person, you yourself are a Black person, and we wouldn't take it and spend it on Gucci belts. So I shouldn't assume that all Black people would do that, right? But if they want to, that's their prerogative, right? If you think, hey, the way that I'm going to use this money is to better myself by bettering my closet, then that is your business, and I shouldn't tell you what to do with your reparations money. I should just use mine to the best of my ability. So the last thing I will say is that I started like to think about what I think reparations should look like. It's because it looks like all these different places are doing different things, right? To hear that Providence is talking about a truth-telling part to it, right? I think that's very important. I think it's very important to race relations and how Black people have been treated, because, if your education lacks that of what Black people have contributed to our society, right? And you don't hang out with Black people, you ain't got no Black friends, you don't go to church with Black folk, you don't go to school with Black folk, then your representation of us is just what you've seen in the media. And we know how media perpetuates colorism and these negative stereotypes about Black people. So I think that a truth-telling part is very important. Like I said, it's very Black Panther-esque. I'm here for it. So say that to say, I think it should definitely be a change in our education system. There should be an African American studies class that is a national thing, and there should be a body to oversee that and how it's disseminated to our children, because I have read about the horrible things that have been done in trying to teach Black history, like teachers putting on slave auctions in the classroom.
Have all the white kids stand on the Black children's backs as they lay on the floor.
Yeah, like
now Black children, do you know what it's like to be a slave? Right.
So like said it to say, there definitely has to be some oversight. So healthcare, I think, is very important. I think, debt erasure, especially like school debt. Like I think school for Black people should be free. At any level, amongst other things. That was just some stuff that came to mind when I thought about it. So what are your thoughts, Queen? Like, how are you feeling about Asheville? How are you feeling about reparations? Have your opinions changed? Are you still where you were then? What's up?
I think that I would have to know exactly everything that Asheville is doing. I do understand that they're like not writing like personal checks. They're putting things in the community, which I feel like is the right thing to do to a certain extent, because you're going to need oversight, you know what I mean? Like I wouldn't trust these people to write checks and be like, okay, we can wash our hands of it, we're done. As far as reparations, as far as a lot of people like have an idea of it, which would be personal check of the descendants of slaves, or enslaved peoples, I should say. I am against it, because I still don't, I don't know, I just don't think, I wouldn't feel right saying, oh, well, it's not really my business if you go buy that Benz, or if you don't, or if you have, more sense to know that that's not what we should do if we're afforded this chunk of change, so to speak. But I think that the reality is, if it was a personal check structure, we would be set up for the whoop-de-whoop just like Native Americans were with reservations and casinos. Like, we would, first of all, if you give Black people these checks, we are still going to have to turn around, or not have to, but I guess I don't really know how to word it, but like a majority of us are going to turn around and have to spend it back within white communities and white-owned businesses and white-owned monopolies at that. You know, our grocery stores, our super centers, etc. Like, everything is still majority white-owned. So it's like, until we can establish more ownership in Black business and Black monopolies as well, it's like then that money is giving us reparations is nothing but handing us money to give right back to you. And my fear is that that'll happen, and I'm actually surprised that hasn't already happened, that'll happen just so they can check it off the list and be like, okay, here, Blacks, like, don't ask us for shit else. Don't you remember back in 2020 we gave your people reparations? I'm sorry that they spent it all and then they died during the coronavirus and you never got to see a penny of it, and yet all of our corporations got bailouts and we're all good and we can still pass down generational wealth. I just don't think it would be helpful for Black people. But I think that takes, I don't know. I don't have the right or wrong answer. I just know that when people randomly started holding presidents to this question of, what do you think about reparations, Bernie? It was like, what? Like, he been doing the groundwork. Like, y'all ain't asked no damn Donald Trump about no reparations. What are y'all talking about? Like, what are y'all talking about? I don't know. I feel like that question just kind of came around. I don't even know if it was around, not that, I guess I can't remember it happening during Obama era, but it's just like when Bernie was running, everybody's like, well, what about reparations? Just to hear what he would say in comparison to what Hillary would say or what Biden would say or whatever. And I'm like, why are y'all even asking this? I'm in confusion, because I just feel like it's not going to be helpful until we correct systems and we dismantle and reform them from the ground up. I don't know.
Yeah, I definitely think that there should be, reform to the systems, but also too in the when we talk about giving people checks, you need money to start businesses. So that's why I see it as like true. Giving over a check to me, because that's what I would do with it, right? If somebody handed me a check right now, I would pay off my student debt, depending on how big this check is, and I hope it's more than $28,000, because that's how much my student debt is. But even say that to say, right, even let's just say all I got was $28,000. If I could start over with no debt, then I could take all the rest of my money that I would have spent paying off my student loans and investing it into my film production business, right? Or vice versa. Even if I took the $30,000 and just spent it on film stuff, which I don't think it would take me $30,000 to build that. But think about that though. That alone, that could be me getting a creative studio space that I could then charge people to come use. That's income for me. I can shoot my own stuff. I don't have to work anymore. Like, that's, even if I only had $30,000, that would be income for a year that I could just spend doing film stuff. You know what I mean? So I personally,
I think even that, like, you even yourself are speaking from a place of being not that you've been like specifically meticulously educated in financial literacy, but you do have a leg up to a majority in a lot of other Black communities. You know what I mean? Like, we are college educated, and that already gives us an extreme amount of privilege.
Absolutely.
To look at versus people who are, in debt and don't even have college to quote unquote blame that on.
Right. I mean? But at the same time, I mean, I don't think everybody doesn't want to own a business. You know what I'm saying? So like, for instance, Candy Burr is saying that her whole goal was to be able to employ others. So say that to say, if I could start a business and then employ other Black people, like, not all Black people have to own business, just like all white people don't have to own business. The only difference is that they just get to keep their money in their community because they own so much. Right. So say that to say, I think that if there were to be a monetary payout amongst other things, right? Because I don't think, even if they just handed me $100,000 check, I mean, God, I don't think they're gonna give us, I don't know how much it'll be, but let's say they did, I wouldn't want it to stop there either though. Like, I would want my check, but then I also want y'all to correct these criminal justice. That was something I wrote down too when I was thinking about what reparations should look like. I think that all Black people who've been tried by all white juries should be retried at a minimum. That is a part of reparations for me. Also, too, like crimes of poverty, like crimes that were committed because I was without. Like, to me, that should be like a, let's get you back into society. Let's get you functioning. Let's get you admit to be what's the word I'm looking for? A citizen who is contributing to our society. So I think reparations, even including big ass checks, should be a lot of other things too. So I definitely feel where you're coming from. But yeah, that was it. I just wanted to, talk about the good reparations. I will pass it off to you, and we'll, switch this thing off like we do.
Okay, like we do. All right. In April, a national study was released that estimated that a whopping 45% of Black businesses would be in danger of closing within 6 months due to the coronavirus. So in light of that news and that study, Jay-Z and Roc Nation have taken out full-page newspaper ads across the country in different cities, highlighting and bringing attention to Black-owned businesses in those respected cities. So
that's dope.
let me see if I can find all the ones so far. You know, don't get me to lying. But they were businesses that included hair shops, restaurants, just different trades that Black people are owning in those respective cities, and trying to highlight those so that if you live in that area, then you have the opportunity to go and patronize those businesses. I think that we've known, like, over years and years, that people have Black people have been murdered and had their places of business burned to the ground and bombed just for being Black and owning those particular businesses. So I feel like on one hand, I was kind of like, I don't know if this is good or bad. Like, do we want to, spray paint on our plywood that covers up our windows during riots? Oh, this is a Black-owned business. Because then we saw white people terrorizing those businesses because they saw that they were Black-owned. Right. But I did want to give a shout out to Jay-Z and Roc Nation for that, for putting the power of back in Black voices, and highlighting maybe small-owned businesses, mom-and-pop businesses that would have never even thought that they would have, the shout-out and the recognition from Jay-Z. Yeah. Also on Beyonce's website, she had linked a whole lot of Black-owned businesses that I, have been following for years. Like, they would post on their page, like, oh, my God, guys, look at this. And it would be, like, the screenshot from Beyonce's website. And I'm like, wow, like, this business that I've followed for years has been shouted out on Beyonce's website, Black-owned businesses to support, which I thought was really, really cool and really dope of them, I guess, as a couple. But the main thing was shouting out Jay-Z for putting that in newspapers. And it made me think of, I think it's called The Green Book. Do you know what that is? Okay. So, yeah, it kind of made me think of that. Like, how now, like, you and I, if we travel somewhere, like, how do we find a Black-owned business? Maybe we ask, if we're at the local Walmart grabbing some things for our trip, we can ask some Black people around, hey, where do people go to eat out here? Where do our people go to eat out here or whatever? But it's like, in general, unless you can Google Black-owned something in this town, it's kind of hard to find Black-owned businesses. There's no, like, real directory of Black-owned businesses. So now there's, like, apps popping up. I downloaded one not too long ago called Official Black Wall Street, which when I first downloaded, it seemed like it was having some technical difficulties, and I don't know if that was because of the influx and how many people were trying to find Black-owned businesses at the time, or just it being overwhelmed with all the new attention that it's getting, because a lot of these directories and Instagram pages for Black business and all that have been around for years and years. And so, like, now all of a sudden they're getting, like, an influx of all this attention, so I think it's hard for them to keep up.
Absolutely.
But just in general, I just thought it was really cool that during a time when it's like, well, almost half of Black-owned businesses are probably going to close due to Corona. It's like, whoa. We cannot allow that to happen. Those of us who are, essential workers, or who are getting a check, or are still somehow finding income during these times, if we have it to give or even not to give, if we have it to highlight or post in our stories or whatever to support Black businesses, because, again, like, as I've said before, supporting monopolies and huge corporations is a way to buy, Todd his second or third yacht versus, spending money in minority-owned and Black-owned and woman-owned communities and businesses, like, help people put their kids to college and help put food on the table for their children,
Right, or help them get their first yacht.
Important. Right, help them get out of debt, help them just, work in an environment that they want, where they don't have to wake up every morning and hate what they do. They can live, a fruitful life that puts good energy back into the world because they are working a quote-unquote job that they love to do.
Yeah, I know when we went to Alabama, me and Kalia, for my birthday, I was very, very serious about finding Black-owned businesses. I was like, to eat at, because I was like, I'd be damned if I eat some white-owned shit while I'm down here. I know what y'all do to Black folk down here. Right. But again, I think that it's cool to adopt that mentality every time if you can, you know what I mean? Not to say if you like Chick-fil-A, you can't eat Chick-fil-A, that's fine, that's cool. But if you can, then why not go to the Black-owned businesses that makes that same food, you know what I'm saying, or different food or whatever. But
not only that, but let's be real. Where did y'all learn to cook in the first place? Like, it's funny when you go into a grocery store and all the seasonings, and the sauces are, like, white-owned. Like, I know there's G. Hughes is a barbecue sauce that I've seen in grocery stores, and I think there's another one called Stubbs, if I'm not mistaken. But, like, other than that, all the barbecue sauces, like, appear to be, white-owned or not Black-owned, to say the least. And it's just like, well, where the hell did y'all learn to season food? Because didn't we teach y'all that?
It's quite interesting to think about, right? The history of a lot of things that I really do feel like rest on Black culture, right? Because when we think about slavery, right, you know, field Negroes versus house Negroes, we were the people cooking, right? The same thing with, like, when we think about movies like The Help, we were the people cleaning and stuff. So it's very interesting to see that, again, which is why you can't argue to me that discrimination doesn't exist, because you just can't tell me that people who lived during those times didn't have that same entrepreneurial spirit. Right. And we know, and we've heard stories about like different, was it Jack Daniels? It was one of those alcohol brands where it was like, come to find out.
I was actually going to say that Jack Daniel was one of the ones I was going to point out, being that, you know, Black people taught you this, but because you're white, had power, had money, had access, you stole it.
Music, we've seen it in music, right? What was it? Elvis Presley stole songs from a Black woman or something like that?
I did want to point out, though, that there is a whiskey now, a Tennessee whiskey, created, it was co-founded, I think, by a family member of Nearest Green, who was the person who taught Jack Daniel the art of making whiskey. So Jack Daniel, you know, took that art from him and, you know, made his money off of it. And Nearest was never given accreditation. So now there's a whiskey called Uncle Nearest Premium Whiskey.
Oh, that's dope.
Yeah, so that is, you know, the family member of Nearest Green. So that way he's getting his honor now. And now it's like, well, y'all, we know it's equally good and of quality and taste and, you know, experience. So let's just switch on over. Like, you know, we have access now to the information that helps us get in touch with where the Black-owned businesses are and where and what their stories are. And Master P is coming out with an instant rice, a seasoned white rice, instant noodles. He has some other deals going on with Rap Snacks right now, but it's like we worried about, you know, Uncle Ben's and Zatarans and Aunt Jemima and all these things that have put Black faces on their products to sell them because, you know, the Mamie in the kitchen kind of idea. But it's like Master P's like, no, girl. Like, if we gonna be buying rice with Black people's faces on it, let's make sure it's Black owned. And here is one. If y'all don't have nothing else, here's mine. And I'm like, oh, come on, Master P. Y'all know I stand at Master P.
Right. That's dope. Yeah, I'm here for it. You know, I'm always here for Black owned things and people reclaiming their time, their money, their what's the word I'm looking for? Their magic. That's what it was. Their magic. Yeah, that's what I'm here for. All right. Ready to move on?
Yes, ma'am. Back to you, Queen. What else do you have?
I would like to give a shout out to my good sis Monique.
Okay.
So Netflix attempted to get Monique's case against them dismissed, but it was denied by the California Central District Court. So Monique filed her lawsuit last year, claiming that Netflix had offered her a considerably low amount compared to her white and male counterparts. Netflix offered her $500K in 2018 and refused to negotiate any further with her. And Monique's lawyer, whose name is David Robertus, she has two lawyers, so either David Robertus or her other lawyer said this. I'm pretty sure it was David, though, that was 26 times less than what was offered to Amy Schumer. When I did the math, it was like 24. Like, it was like 20 or 24. So I was like, yeah, it's definitely 20 times plus less than what they offered Amy Schumer. And they're saying that negotiation is a usual practice in Hollywood. So when Monique complained about the low offer and they refused to negotiate, that was retaliation and they shouldn't be allowed to retaliate in that way. David Robertus also said that this is a win for Hollywood talent in general who need protection from retaliation if they raise concerns about their pay. So I looked at another article that said that the suit alleges that Amy was paid $13 million after negotiating from her original offer of $11 million. And now this is with the same company, right? So they were willing to negotiate with Amy Schumer what they weren't willing to negotiate with Monique. They were also saying that Netflix has paid Chris Rock and Ricky Gervais $40 million for a 1 hour comedy special. They paid Dave Chappelle $60 million and they paid Jerry Seinfeld $100 million. And I know things like this get sticky because we have to, then talk about who's more relevant and how, Monique got blackballed and how she hasn't been out. But I will say, speaking for the fact that we know that one thing undeniable about Monique is that she is a legend. Even if you say she's just a legend in the Black community, that's fine, but she is a legend nonetheless. So to be offered only $500,000 when you're offering Amy Schumer $11 million, it is kind of like, all right, now I get that I might not be out here and about here like that, but $500K, what is she supposed to do with that? Wipe her ass? Like, that's nothing.
Can I even put on the production for $500K?
Okay. So yeah, I would just like to say shout out to Monique for not only, going through with this and being someone who's standing up for Black women and Black people in particular and women in particular, but also that she wasn't deterred by like people, because I feel like people was like laughing at her when this first came out. Like, girl.
No, I remember it being a joke.
Yeah.
And you know what? That honestly, for our listeners, this is kind of going to be the entire theme of our episode is respect and listen to Black women. Yeah. Period. Yeah. We don't want the rebuttal. We don't want to hear anything after that. Okay. It is don't ask them how to be an ally and refuse to do it. Period. Okay. Don't give us a rebuttal. Don't give us your argument. Don't give us, okay, but it, and what if, and what about, and how about, no. Listen to Black women. Right. Respect Black women. Right. The end. Yeah. We don't want to see your Malcolm X posts on his birthday when you don't even know about it until, Instagram or something or Facebook reminds you. That's cool and all, but don't claim to know anything about Malcolm X when you refuse to listen to the fact that he said, y'all got to start respecting Black women, period. Right. Okay. And that's that on that. So, yeah, shout out to Monique for not being deterred, and any other Black women who have been laughed at, because we'll get to that later, too. Mm-hmm. But, yeah, that's all I had to say about Monique. Okay. So, moving into my last look back at it, I am kind of going into the theme that'll lead us into Blank Wild Black. Mm-hmm. But I wanted to, first shout out to the Queen, Viola Davis, whom I love everything about her. She is the GOAT, and she should be paid her ducats as such. Okay. I watched an interview not too long ago of her basically saying, I go into places and they'll say, "You are the Black Meryl Streep." And she'd be like, okay, why are you not paying me like so? Okay. Like, I've already got the Tony, I've got the Emmy, I've got the Oscars. What's going on here? Like, why can y'all not pay me my ducats? Like, what else do I have to prove to y'all? I've already done everything. I've done Broadway, I've done film, I've done television, I've done, all of these things, and y'all refuse to pay Black women in general. Okay. But she just got her cover of Vanity Fair, and I wanted to bring attention to this for a couple reasons. One, I wanted to shout out to Dario Calmes, who is the photographer of this spread. He is the first Black photographer to have a cover for Vanity Fair. Which is wild. He took inspiration from a photo that most people are familiar with having seen. They may not know it by the title, but I will tell you it's called often... Peter's Wounds. It's called I think it's called Whipped, something else, but it's a picture of an enslaved man who escaped slavery in 1863, but by the time he got to the Union Station in Baton Rouge, Louisiana, he had been chased for miles by dogs, running barefoot through creeks and roads and streets and climbing trees, etc., to get there. And he, along with, I believe it was 3 other escaped enslaved peoples, wanted to immediately join the Union and help free other slaves and help fight against the South. And when they were doing his medical exam, one of the surgeons at the time noticed that his back was just so incredibly just striking as far as the scars and the keloid of all the scars on his back from being whipped so badly. Mm-hmm. And so in Dario's pictures of Viola, specifically the cover image is a picture of her back towards the camera with her hand on her hip, as Peter's was in the iconic photo from the 1800s. To which, a lot of white people were then kind of put onto the idea of, oh shit, so slavery is not as humanizing as the South claims that it is. A lot of people in the North were still like, oh yeah, people want to have their slaves and they got nothing to do with us, whatever. And that picture is what changed their mind and led them to say, oh no, this is not okay to treat human beings this way. So it was a very important picture, and I thought it was really cool that Dario, I believe he's like in his 20s, he's young, wanted that pose for a couple reasons. At first it was, white people are seeing this image and they are trying to understand our suffering or I guess seeing our suffering for the first time for a lot of people. But the other impact is the one that he wanted was to say, but look at Black people and their resilience and their grace and their beauty as well. We're not just these, we weren't slaves. We were enslaved people, but we weren't slaves. We were human beings. We are human beings. We have feelings. We're human. We have emotions. We are more than just the time frame of slavery. We were here before, and we will be here after, slavery. We are more than just that instance in history. We are human beings. We're beautiful. We're regal. We're elegant. And that's what he was trying to capture in that picture, which I thought was beautifully done. But I also wanted to bring up that title because Vogue 2 years ago had its first ever, when it featured Beyonce on the cover, had its first ever Black photographer shoot that. Tyler Mitchell, who was 23 years old at the time, and did a beautiful job for Beyonce's cover. And then we would switch gears to Simone Biles' recent cover of Vogue, which was photographed by Annie Leibovitz, who did a horrible job. Dario Calmes, who photographed Viola, was saying that he likes her work in general, but obviously the dark, dull, really, theme of it obviously doesn't work for everybody. And he was saying how in Viola, in all magazines, no matter what you look like, they always want to brighten and lighten here and there. And I guess in the post, I don't know how much control the photographer has over the editing, but he said that they try to, and he was like, no, bring it back down, bring it back to where I photographed it at. We don't need to lighten and brighten the Viola Davis. She is beautiful and regal in the way that I shot her, because I shot her with the lighting that she deserved. The end. Whereas Simone Biles, I think seeing her do her acrobatics, in the photographs was obviously beautiful. She's a beautiful and talented young woman, but her photographer did her just incredibly wrong. And it's just why can't, I don't, a lot of people probably maybe listening to the podcast have, maybe if you're a Black woman, have gotten your makeup done by a white person. Maybe it's maybe for a wedding or something like that. And you look in a mirror and you are just looking the fuck ashy, just looking crazy as hell. And it's just it's okay. If you don't know how to do Black people's hair or Black people's makeup, I know I have been there on far more than one occasion with hair and makeup of having just white people having me look the fuck crazy. And it's just if you don't know how to do it, that's okay, girl. Just let somebody else do it. And you, Annie, if you don't know how to photograph dark-skinned people and Black people in general, it's okay, girl. Just decline the job. You've been photographing for Vogue for years, girl. Just give the job to somebody else for this, 1, 2, 3 times. What the hell?
Well, white people have entitlement. They feel not to say this is her opinion, but I feel I think about this a lot. I was thinking about it earlier with BET. And we had a conversation about All Eyes on Me being written by white people, and I just be having times where I just sit back and be like, why do y'all want to be a part of this? And I'm not trying to say Tupac didn't have white fans, but or that BET don't have white fans, but it's why do y'all have to own BET? You know what I'm saying? It's okay, if the people are telling you at this moment, girl, we don't want you photographing us no more because you be having us looking the fuck crazy, then just be all right, I'll take that L. She has photographed just one picture that I saw, it had Jane Fonda in it. I'm a huge fan of Jane Fonda. And a whole bunch of other really famous actresses in it. And I'm she's photographed probably everyone that's ever been anybody ever. So it's why can't you just say, you know what, this is fine. The people themselves have spoken. And so for me, I feel if you have any compassion for those people and you care about those people, you will step the fuck back.
Right. And this is not the first and only time. We tell y'all this on a regular basis. Please, if you don't know how to light Black people, just let somebody who does either teach you or do the job, because you're just not doing it justice. I think she's the same one who photographed LeBron James, and I don't even remember who the person was. Okay, it's the same woman. Mm-hmm. Yeah, looking like King Kong, it was verbatim a King Kong cartoon type of, I don't know, magazine cover, what have you. But I was just what is this? At the very least, she's racially insensitive. But
and the thing about that kind of stuff is
a racist that you would intentionally make Black people look bad.
Yeah, the thing about it is that with that kind of stuff, kind of when we saw the when we discussed on here, the designer that had put the face with the mask with the
Gucci.
Yeah. When they did that, it's kind of like, I don't know if y'all are trying to like repurpose to like be like, no, we're going to reclaim this imagery, kind of like Black Panther did, right? Like the fact that one of the tribes in Black Panther, their like animal was monkeys, and it was because they're like, we're reclaiming this narrative and we're no longer going to allow it to be something negative. I get that, but I just feel like it just doesn't work, I guess, when it's white people doing it. Mm-hmm. Or like when they're the ones behind the scenes, because it didn't bother me in Black Panther. But again, I know that Ryan Coogler is the director, and Ruth Carter is the costume designer.
Yeah, that's the point. You can't reclaim something for me.
Yeah, so maybe that's what it is. But Simone Biles was actually one of the things I wanted to discuss in Blank While Black. Was this? I saw a tweet.
Well, let's go ahead and transition. Blank While Black. Take it away, Sid.
As Aisha's already said, as she is herself one of the critics, the people on Twitter were not amused. They were not pleased, including a New York Times national picture editor, Morgan McCarthy. Just in general, were like, what is going on here? And so, like Aisha said, the photography is by Annie Leibovitz, and she has done Viola Davis. She has done Lupita. She has shot
yes, literally all of them. It's just like, girl, this is your trend. They're always bad.
And Lena,
dark women.
Yeah, and Lena Waithe too. But yeah, it's always and the thing about Simone Biles, just playing devil's advocate for a moment, the story on the inside of the magazine was about the serial sexual abuse, partly about the serial sexual abuse of a USA gymnastics doctor named Larry Nassar, and Simone Biles was one of the people that he abused, and she's talking about that and her depression and her anger about the situation, about the fact that it was, allowed, that the fact that it even happened, right? That fact, because he had done it a lot. That's that's what serial means. So I was like, I could see how her photography in this particular case may have been inspired by the story itself, because when I hear the story and I see the photography, I'm like, okay, I see what she was going for. But then when I see all the rest of these photos,
what are you, as far as a cover magazine, what are you? Is she victim or survivor? And of course, you can be both, so to speak. But it's like, what light are you trying to put this young woman in when she's brave enough to share her story?
No, I get that. That's what I'm saying. That's why I'm playing devil's advocate, because I get that artistic expression, like that might have been what she was going for. But the reason why that to me doesn't work in this particular case is because when I see the other pictures of all these other women, Viola Davis and Lena Waithe, I'm like, okay, were all of their cover stories also very sad and depressing? Because otherwise, I think that's just her style in general, right? That dull lighting that kind of pulls all of the life. Because even the pictures I saw of Grace, of Jane Fonda, I was like, yeah, this is still looking quite dull, quite lifeless. I think that's just her style, but it just, it's one of those things where I don't mean no shade when I say this, but it's one of those things where I'd be like, I don't know why this is a popular thing. Like, why? I'm sure, like, if I wanted to get her to take a picture of me, it would cost me a whole lot of money. And it's like, but why? Kind of like, why do we pay all this money for Gucci? Like, who decided that this was worth it, if that makes sense? So it's one of the things where I'm just like, yeah, I don't know why anybody would want this dull, lifeless, sad, cry, the end looking photography. But, the people clear, somebody likes it. But yeah, I saw somebody say, it was a tweet, and it was like, basically, this is an assault on Black women, this photo and this lighting and this dimness. And I think, again, I guess it's just the historical context of knowing about, like, the strong Black woman narrative, or this we've been through horrible things. And so I guess that's why for us, we just like, no, we don't want this. And I get it. I absolutely get it. So yeah, I had another Blank While Black, but I will pass it over to you if we're going to switch off.
You go ahead. You can go ahead and go on that. Mine's switching gears a bit.
Oh, okay. Okay. Yeah. To Meg the Stallion, we go.
Okay. I wasn't sure if that's where you're going.
What'd you say?
I was gonna say I wasn't sure if that's where you're going. Go ahead.
Oh yeah. So last weekend there was a shooting incident that took place. The story is still unfolding, but basically, Meg the Stallion was shot multiple times. She was rushed to the hospital. She had surgery to remove multiple bullets. It's alleged that she was shot by Tory Lanez. It says a source says that Tory fired shots from within the vehicle while Megan was outside trying to leave. That same source said that this is a case of a man physically harming and abusing a woman. But in general, apparently they're having a hard time getting people to come forward as witnesses and getting them to cooperate. But another source said that Tory shot her in the feet as she was exiting the SUV on the heels of an argument that had erupted inside the SUV. So what I would like to say is that we don't know what happened, right? The information is still coming out. So what I will say is that I'm going to speak from the point of view that Tory shot Meg. So from what if this is true, then I don't understand why witnesses are protecting him and not coming forward. If a black man does harm to a black woman, there is no protecting you in the community. But even Stokely Carmichael, aka Kwame Ture, said that he was like, if you defile a flower, which he meant in the sense of like, if you rape a black woman, then you should die. Like, and I'm not going that far and saying I want to see Tory get shot or, get killed, but I don't understand why we're protecting him. And to be clear, it's not necessarily that I want him to go to jail, because as someone who wants to live in a world where we don't have prisons, I can't keep on trying to throw people in jail every time something bad happens. I'm definitely a supporter of like restorative justice and that kind of thing, but we're not going to get that if we're protecting him and not telling the truth about what happened, right? And again, it's just another example of how we're willing to protect black men at the detriment of black women. But at the same time, playing devil's advocate, maybe Meg Thee Stallion doesn't want them to come out and say those things, and maybe they're just respecting her wishes. But yeah, I don't get it. And B, I just don't understand why we're making jokes about it. I just don't understand why we just don't give a fuck about black women. And I had somebody say like, oh, well, the jokes are funny. And I was like, yeah, but it's at the expense of a black woman. Like
of a black woman that had been shot for a couple hours, was in the hospital, and then tweeted from the hospital, this is extremely traumatizing.
Yeah.
Like this, I'm a human being. This is real life, y'all. Like I'm not a meme. I'm not a joke. I'm a human. I'm extremely traumatized. My life will forever be changed. And y'all are still like, LOL. Look at this, laughing my ass off. Like, damn, y'all. Can y'all like wait till she come out and crack the first joke or something? Like, why do we gotta laugh when it's like, y'all were just mourning allegedly Naya Rivera, but it's like Meg Thee Stallion can't get any respect, and it's like, thank God she's still alive. But it's like, do people have to die first?
Or do they have to be light-skinned? Because Meg Thee Stallion ain't light-skinned.
Do they have to be light-skinned?
I have questions. I have lots of questions. In general, to me, to say you love black women, but I can't see it in your actions besides the ones that do something for you, like, oh, my wife, my daughter, if even them, right? Because we know Lil Wayne clearly don't give a fuck about his daughter. But say that to say, I just don't know. I don't know why. And the question I had to that person that said it to me, I was like, well, number one, I can't just say that it's funny. I don't have that privilege as a woman, because this was a man I was speaking to. So I don't think this is funny. And he was like, yeah, well, we laugh at, like, everybody laughs at everybody, And I was like, yeah, but can we live in a world where we don't laugh at anyone's expense? Like, is that possible? I remember reading that in Assata Shakur's autobiography, and it stuck with me. Like, I just never left me, that one like sentence. I was just like, yeah, is it possible that we can laugh, but it not be at the expense of a woman that's been shot in the foot and shot several times and had to go through surgery? And then not only, and of course there are people on the internet saying the contrary, right? Like, I remember when I used to like just say nice things under celebrities' posts just to negate some of the negative energy that they have to deal with. So I know that someone else out there is doing that, saying like, oh, Meg, we don't fuck with this, girl, we got your back, yada yada yada. But again, and I don't know again if we're just focusing on the negativity, but it just always seems like the negative conversation is louder, and maybe because again, when I'm thinking of my freedom dream, there's no negative conversation at all. So maybe that's why I'm like zeroing in on that. And maybe that's partly my fault that I'm not looking for the positivity, but I just know in general, they were saying, the article I was reading, they were like, yeah, the Twitter was lit up with memes and jokes and da 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 da. Like, if you looked under her name, that's all you saw. That's what was trending. And again, I think we have to wonder and think before we tweet just for 15 seconds of fame. Oh, my tweet went viral because I said something funny about Meg Thee Stallion, and she also had to see it as she's trying to recover from being shot in the foot. We didn't even give her any time before we started making jokes. So, yeah, I just think it's trash. I just want to keep asking, like, do y'all really care about black women? Do y'all really care about brown women and about dark women? Because I think we have to pay attention to the fact that, nobody's making jokes about Naya Right, but people are making jokes about Meg. And maybe it's not even just that. Maybe, it's because Meg Thee Stallion is hypersexualized too. Like, maybe we only have respect for women who aren't hypersexualized. But it's still like, for me, if you don't have respect for all women, the strippers, the doctors, the whatever whatever they do, however much of their body is on the internet, then I just can't fuck with you.
Message.
So I don't believe in that whole, she's a stripper. Oh, well, Meg twerks on the stage. I don't give a fuck. Like, she's still a person.
What does that have to do with my goddamn foot that is supposed to be bulletless?
Right. I just don't get it. Like, I just think, again, we just keep coming up with ways to dehumanize people and take away their humanity, right? Oh, well, she's too promiscuous to deserve my respect. Like, y'all, it's always something.
The thing is, I don't know if, I mean, I guess it is perceived obviously as disrespect, but it's like I don't know. Like I want to know genuinely what it is. Is it the colorism?
Yeah.
Is it because she's rapper? Is it because she's hypersexualized? What is it that makes you make jokes about that with somebody who's still currently in the hospital? Like it's not. To me, it's not like, oh, it's a matter of her being alive or not. Well, y'all didn't know, God rest her soul, rest in peace, and Naya Rivera, of course, and we lift up your family as well. But it's like y'all weren't making jokes when she was missing,
right?
Like, and we didn't know she had passed. Like, y'all weren't making jokes about her and not making jokes about her before or after. So why do we make jokes about Meg being shot by anybody? We don't know for sure if it was Tory or someone else, but it's like, why would we make jokes about her being shot when this woman is still in the hospital? Like, what's wrong with y'all?
I don't get it. And then to me, where is the remorse? Which, of course, again, my goal is to not even have to do things to apologize for. But where is the outpouring of remorse to the same extent of all these jokes that were going viral? Right, when she said, "I'm traumatized," it should have been, "Oh, girl, I'm sorry, my bad. You know what? That was fucked up."
So just like all you men who hate dark-skinned women or brown women or black women in general because you hate your mother's faces, since y'all also hate Megan's feet, why don't y'all go home and shoot y'all mamas in the foot? How about that? Since y'all don't respect black women and brown women or hypersexualized women, obviously your mama was also hypersexualized because you're here. Y'all raggedy asses.
But that is all I had, Queen, so take it away.
All right. And still in respect and listen the fuck to black women, I read an article on Instagram that I just kind of been thinking about a lot lately. I see different names. I don't know if going viral is the case, but I see different names in different situations and cases. And it just made me kind of think about it. So when I saw the article, I was like, oh, wow, this is exactly what's been on my mind and my heart lately, particularly when any of my friends have to go to the doctor. And the article was titled, "What the Police Do to Black Men, Doctors Do to Black Women." A thread on Black life, the maternal mortality crisis, and dismantling systemic racism in hospitals. This post was made by Transparent Black Girl on Instagram. And I'm just going to read a couple of the slides first. The first one says, in the U.S., maternal mortality and morbidity disproportionately affects Black women at a rate of 4 to 5 times greater than white women. In New York City specifically, Black women are 12 times more likely than white women to die as a result of pregnancy and birth-related causes. That was cited from the New York City Health report. And then it's not an issue of race, it's racism. There are systemic inequities that lead to such disparities. Poor access to adequate health care and insurance, medical racism, food deserts, redlining, a lack of intercommunity resources, a lack of generational economic mobility. Medical racism means Black women are often neglected and microaggressed, underdiagnosed, untreated, dismissed, and perceived to have a higher pain tolerance than white women. Additionally, a recent meta-analysis researching over 20 years of studies has revealed that Black patients overall are 22% less likely than white patients to receive any pain medication, as they were perceived to have a higher pain tolerance for pain and have thicker skin and less sensitive nerve endings. That is from a report from the Institute of Medicine.
Wow.
Dating back to the 1600s, Black slaves acted as midwives and doulas until the mid to late 1700s. The terms midwife, and granny midwife were used interchangeably to describe the traditional Black midwives who were well respected by their community. In the 1800s, they were replaced by white male physicians, and legislation created a ban against midwife practices altogether, which some states are still considered to be illegal. So you have to have like licensing to be a midwife and or a doula. So now all of these roles that were, honored in Black communities by Black women were replaced by white men who now see Black women as, having higher pain tolerances. They don't have enough nerve endings to be affected by pain like white people do,
that's wild,
etc. So they're more likely to die from illnesses that are completely preventable and treatable, especially giving birth from hypertension, asthma, placental disorders, gestational diabetes, and preeclampsia. All things that white women are kind of respected for when they say they're in pain or they're experiencing something, they get listened to. So I just wanted to say rest in peace to Shyasia Washington, Kira Johnson, Amber Isaac, Shimoni Gibson, and of course lots of other names of women who we won't ever know. And that is speaking maybe more specifically through a lens of childbirth and pregnancy. I want to say at least 3 of the women, because I read their articles, died on the table during the C-section from these doctors not listening to them, saying, that they were experiencing pain. And one of them, the doctors had accidentally cut her on the inside, and she was bleeding out internally for hours after her C-section, and she died on the table. A friend of ours, one of our followers of the living room, sent in a story saying that she went to the ER with a spider bite that made her swell like from her elbow all the way down through her knuckles. And the doctors gave her a pamphlet on insect bites, which did not include spiders because they're not an insect, did not give her any pain medication or antibiotics. They just gave her a pack of ice and a Benadryl, and she had to go back to urgent care, I think it was 3 days later, because she had a skin infection from the bite. And the doctor that treated her there was like, what? Like, why didn't they give you antibiotics? Like, what is going on? Like, and she was like, I don't know. I literally told them that I thought it was a spider bite. And they were like, woo, they got you good, didn't they? Here's some Benadryl.
That's wild.
Like, and just thinking of just the experiences of Black women. And again, I don't know if this is something you personally have experienced, but I know that I have experienced just kind of just the way the doctors treat you, or the way if you say you're in, extreme pain, how they'll just ignore you and not give you medicine and not treat you or not come to you quickly. And then by the time they do, it's too late to give you medicine, too late to treat it. So yeah, I guess I just want to talk to Black women specifically right now. I read another article that basically said you need to give written consent on your paperwork for your partner or whoever's with you specifically during, pregnancy or what have you. If you request medicine and they try to say, oh, she's maybe high on drugs, she doesn't know what she's asking, or she doesn't really need it, request that your partners have the permission to speak on your behalf and request the medication for you. I know because of Corona, some people have had to give birth without their partners in the room with them, without their parents, without their partners. They've had to do it by themselves. And I can only imagine how horrifying that is, knowing that 3 out of every 5 deaths due to pregnancy and giving birth are preventable. And that Black women are 4 times as likely to be the ones who die than white women, and 12 times in New York City. I cannot imagine having to give birth without my partner there to make sure, be like, excuse me, didn't y'all just hear my girl say that she needs pain medicine, or she wants her epidural or whatever? Like, y'all are not listening to her, so at least I'm here to advocate for her. I can't imagine having to do that alone. Like, I cannot imagine having to go in there by myself and, maybe be unconscious or conscious, but dealing with excruciating pain and not being listened to. And then I die before I meet my baby, or my baby and I both die on the table because you didn't listen to
that
me.
Shit is wild.
That simple.
Yeah, I personally feel like, and of course I did not go to medical school. I got my degree in African American Studies and Health Fitness. But so say that to say, I feel like, let's say if most doctors get their degrees in biology or chemistry, right? Everybody has electives, and I know having had, gotten my degree in health fitness and that being a BS, like a bachelor's of science, to me, I feel like it should be a requirement. First of all, if you are a man and you are going into obstetrics, particularly, or gynecology, particularly, you should have to take a women's studies class. Like, you shouldn't have to know what women have been through and be empathetic. Like, it's wonderful if you got that from home, right? Like, it's wonderful if, you know, your mama taught you these things or whatever. But for me, just because of the things I am seeing, I need that in I need that in writing. You know what I'm saying? And the same thing with, I think if you are a doctor who's going to work with diverse populations, you should have to take every kind of ethnic study class. Like, again, I just think it is very weird. Now, let's say that, of course, if that isn't already happening, which to my knowledge it isn't, I don't think it possibly could be if we're hearing these statistics. Either that, or, and if it is happening, you clearly went to class and would text the whole time, or maybe didn't show up. But it should absolutely be a requirement that if you are working with women and you're a man, or if you're white, which we know y'all are, and you're working with black women, Asian women, especially, and actually I'm just going to speak specifically about black women because we know that that's where there is a proven record that there is a disparity there, right, in the amount of deaths and the maltreatment. You should absolutely have to take African American studies. Like, there's no way that and African American women's studies or whatever it might be, but there has to be something that we do on a side of education that better equips these people to interact with us, because this isn't working. And I remember seeing like the doctors that were like, yeah, you know, we're standing with Black Lives and Black Lives Matter, and we're going to do our best. And I'm like, that's wonderful. I feel like this has probably been said before. And so I need to see change in these statistics. I need to know what y'all are doing to make that happen. I need to know who's advising y'all in this regard, because all of that to me is important. I just know I no longer trust y'all. And I have so much respect for women who still decide to have children, knowing that they could die. Like, I remember Asada Shakur talking about that in an interview I saw of her, and she was like, we dare to be human by still having children in this world and she was more so, I think, speaking from a perspective of a world that doesn't want them, or want us. But I believe it to be true also to dare to be fully human and having a child, knowing that you could die or your child could die all because you are black. We know that Serena Williams and Beyonce. So when we can, take out education, we can take out how much money you have, we can take out how much talent you have, we can take out your worth to society or whatever, but at the end of the day, you're still a black woman, and those two black women with all of their money and all their prestige and all of their fame still had complications and almost died giving birth. For what other reason than the fact that they're black? Like, Beyonce's I Run the World Girls songs, her dancing, her fashion, all of that still couldn't save her when it came time for her to have her children. So, yeah, it's wild. But, yeah, there's something that needs to be done. It needs to be done immediately, because it just, like, I saw that Asheville, but a couple weeks before they passed the reparations measure, also passed, let me make sure I call it the right thing. I don't want to call it a bill if it's not a bill. But they passed, let's see, the county board days before declared racism as a public health issue. And that is important, okay? That needs to be nationally done. Like, it's absolutely a public health issue, because, again, we know that it's just being black that kills all these different black women, right? And even when we think about fulfilling prophecy, this idea that the father of gynecology was doing surgery on enslaved women without anesthesia, even though it was available, because of this idea that black women don't feel pain the way white women do, and how that has passed and worked its way through history to now. Like, so when people try to hit me with girl, why are you talking about slavery? It's 2020. Like, that don't matter. You always bringing up slavery, because it is important. Like, it does matter. It is still with us today. It is wild to me that y'all really be trying to act like, and I'm talking about black people, not all black people, of course, but when I'm talking to black folks telling me, girl, you always bringing up slavery. Oh, girl, you either are naive as fuck, refuse to know better, or don't want to know better, and you really believe in that whole, racism ain't a thing and discrimination ain't a thing and it's up to us and our individual, but it's our fault or whatever. You must be one of them ass people, in the face ass people, if you're really sitting here trying to tell me that I need to stop talking about slavery, when the father of the whole discipline used to do surgeries on enslaved women because he didn't think they felt pain, and now you got black women dying in 2020 because doctors still don't think they feel pain, right? And that they're not smart enough to comprehend their own pain to tell you, hey, I need this or I need that. What the fuck is wrong with y'all? So, yeah. What a world. It's great. It's always great to be black.
If I'm not mistaken, that Melanie, one of our most wonderful listeners, I believe that she right now is trying to be certified to be a doula. So
Oh, that's dope.
yeah, it's hella important for Black people to take up these roles. And even though obviously legislation has tried to push Black people out of spaces that we occupy to protect each other, you know, as a community, you try to push us out of these places. We can't own businesses. We can't be midwives. We can't make our own food. Like, we have to follow all these rules that white people decided that they were just randomly going to make up. And then y'all out here killing us left and right. Like, so I just want to say shout out to Mel. I believe she did say that. I think it was on her story or something one day. But it was just like, yeah, girl, we need you. We need you. We need other like-minded people like you to take up the cause if you have a calling for it. Because it just sounds like a horrifying time to be Black and to give birth in this country specifically.
So shout out to all y'all that dare to do it anyway.
Yes, ma'am. Shout out to all the mommies, all the queens that give life and bring life, grow life. We appreciate y'all. Without you, Black woman, there is no us. So.
Okay. Yes, ma'am.
All right. Moving on to sounds about white. Well, y'all, on another day of God's internet, Trump has showed his rectum yet again.
Oh, great.
He was being interviewed by Nora O'Donnell, who asked him how he felt about George Floyd, where she said it was, you know, a horrible thing that happened to him. And she asked him, well, why do you think it still is that Black people are being killed at the hands of police? And Donnie replied, so are white people. What a stupid question. So are white people. And more white people than Black people, I might add. Stupid question. And she moved on with her interview and asked him something else.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
Yeah, sounds about quite. Well, Donnie, I don't know. I don't know what you identify as, if not Cheeto, but I would think you identified as white. To which I would think it would also alarm you that white people are being killed by police, because again, not their job. So if it doesn't alarm you that they kill Black people disproportionately, yes. As far as numbers, statistics, yes, white people get killed even more so than Black people do. That is true. But if we're talking about rates, Black people are killed at 4 times higher. So either way, if you didn't want to talk about the rates, if we just talked about numbers in general, 1,000 people per year should not be being killed by the same police that they are paying. Sorry, girl. Don't get to be the guillotine. You don't get to be the executioner. You don't get to be the judge, the magistrate, the jury. You don't get to do any of those things. You got handcuffs. That's about it. You don't get to just blow people's heads off or choke them out till they die, like you've done to 16-year-old children for throwing sandwiches on the floor, or women who forget to use their blinker, or men who use false $20 bills. You just don't get to murder them because you fucking feel like it. So, right. And sounds about white, Donnie, you should also be alarmed if you are admitting that you know the statistics are that white people are also being murdered by police officers. That should alarm you as the leader of this country. But you know,
absolutely,
whatever serves your individualism the best.
Right. Okay. All right.
So that's all I had to get off my chest.
Okay. Is it Sexpectations time?
Sexpectations.
Yes,
you got anything, Sid?
No, ma'am. Let your question roll.
Okay, so
oh God.
on the demon time, she might start her OnlyFans. I wanted to ask you, good queen.
What?
I wanted to ask you if you would allow your partner to do sex work, and flag before you answer. Sex work would include, and not limited to, porn, prostitution, an OnlyFans page, sexting, phone sex, webcams, stripper, exotic dancer, etc. Would you be okay with your partner doing sex work? And is there a limit to it? Like yes and or no, but whatever. Are there any exceptions to the rule?
That is an interesting question. I you know what's crazy? I was watching MTV's Are You the One? Come All. It was the first season where everybody on the show was sexually fluid. So normally on that show, for anybody that doesn't watch it, it is like, you get a group of 8 guys, a group of 8 girls, and they come in the house together at some exotic location. And this time it was in Hawaii, for instance. And you have to find your match. You don't know who it is, but you know that your perfect match is in the house. And they get like beams at the matchup ceremonies. If they get all 8 beams, they win $1 million and stuff. So this time, though, your match could either be male or female or non-binary. And there's a guy on there, his name is Remy, and I think he is fine as hell, right? And so I was on his page the other day, and I was like, oh, he has an OnlyFans page. And I think I don't know what all is on there, but I feel like I got the gist that he also does porn. And like I said, he is a sexually fluid person, so I don't know if he's like doing it with guys or girls or both. And I was like,
very long answer.
And no, because he's fine. And I just feel like I would date him. Like, I feel like if he asked me for my number, I would, if he was a nice person, of course, like if I would wake up to that man every day, absolutely. But, are there any limits? I would not have a problem with my significant other having an OnlyFans page. I just feel like you just have to be secure in yourself. Cause I feel like when I ask people questions about would they do this or would they date a person that does that, a lot of it to me just sounds like their own insecurities being projected onto that other person. And so, like, for instance, I wouldn't date a person that does OnlyFans because everybody's seeing your body. It's like, what does that have to do with anything? But let me think. Would I date a stripper? I don't think I would have a problem with that. I think I'd have to do it before I could say no or yay or nay. Because I mean, of course, I like to think of myself as this super confident person and nothing gets under my skin and But then I might do it and be very insecure. But I think OnlyFans is the best thing ever. I don't know why everybody doesn't have an OnlyFans page.
But also, I guess I should clarify too that on OnlyFans, some people are having sex on there, like porn videos. Some people are just masturbating. Some people are just doing twerk videos. Some people are cooking in a bra. Some people are just doing makeup tutorials. Some people are teaching you how to change your oil. Some people are doing podcasts. You know what I mean? Like, there's all different things that you could use or do on there. People hear OnlyFans and they think, I don't know, people are putting cucumbers in their vaginas on video. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know what people assume of OnlyFans, but I know they assume sex work for all of it, which is not the case. But it made me question, because I'm like, of course you have like hella men. Like there's this girl I follow, and she's like a TikToker, I guess famous from TikTok, and she does YouTube as well. And she posted some picture and put like link in my bio. So I kind of already knew what that meant. But I went to her bio and I saw it was OnlyFans, and her comments were like in shambles. There were guys like, oh, why are you not with so-and-so anymore? And then somebody's like, oh no, they broke up and that's why she's for the streets now. She's for the streets. She's a hoe, a whore. Yeah, this is what happens. Her true colors come out when you get single. Da, 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 da. And I was like, men be so fragile. But then I was like, actually, would that offend me if my male partner did that? For one, I'm not really into like a selfie taking ass nigga in general. But I was trying to think like how uncomfortable I would be with the idea of sex work and what that would look like for the opposite, partner. Because I feel like in general, you got to be fair to each other. Like, if it's okay for one person to do something, like, it kind of got to be okay across the board. Like, I can't project my insecurities and be mad, like, if you don't want me to do something. And I was like, would that bother me? Like, are men mad because they want to do it and they don't think their girlfriends would allow them? Or are they mad because they feel like this woman is their property and they don't want to see their property showing their goods to anyone else? Like, what is it that makes people uncomfortable with the idea of sex work or OnlyFans?
I don't think I could date somebody who does sex work, only because, for instance, I actually think the idea of open relationships is very dope, but because of how if my understanding of HIV and how it spreads in your body and like when it's able to be detectable, I know back in the day at least, like it would take like 6 months for it to show up on like a test. And so said it to say to me, if you're with your partner and you're not using condoms, like either you're going to be using condoms or you're not going to be having sex at all until a 6-month period after you have sex with that person. So then we might not ever be having sex because you're doing sex work, if that makes sense. So if STDs in general didn't exist, I feel like I would be open to a whole bunch of shit. I'd be like, oh yeah, let's be in an open relationship and you can do your sex work and let's have a good time and da-da-da-da. But because STDs exist.
I mean, their sex work could be just making sexy videos. That's considered sex work.
So say that to say sexual intercourse that could result in an STD.
Okay, so pornography, no.
Yeah.
Intercourse pornography.
Only because it could give me STD, not because I'm like insecure about that. At least not in my head. I've never tried it before. Like I said, for me, I'd have to try it and then I'll let you know if it really was something I could or couldn't do. I feel like you don't know until you know. But if there were no such thing as STDs, I think I'd be down with a whole bunch of shit. So I say that to say, yeah, it's anything that could give me an STD is a no for me. But anything that can't, I would like to think that I'm open to it. I would try it and see how I feel.
Very cool. Yeah, I feel like shit. You getting ducats? Who am I to be mad? Like,
man, to me,
know.
people
I just
really
saw a girl buy a Bentley. I just saw
exactly what it is that y'all are mad that y'all went to school for all them years because you thought that was the only way you could make that kind of money, and now you mad at this person who potentially didn't or at least ain't using that degree and is making the same amount of money as you. That's really what it is. That's making you mad.
And not only just making a certain amount of money, like people will make less money to do a job that they hate because it's with their degree and they want to be able to say that.
Yeah, stupid. I think none of this shit really exists.
More money, say truck driving, but I didn't go to school for it. If I can make more money doing that than you are, I don't know, doing office administration or athletic training or whatever. Like if I can make more money than you, of course you're gonna be pissed. Because you think that you are owed more respect than me. If I make more money doing, sanitation for the city, you're going to be pissed at me and you're not going to hold me to a certain level of respect. And it has nothing to do with how much money I make. It's the fact that it is to a certain extent, but it's like you're just mad because you don't think that people owe me respect, but people owe you respect because you hold a college degree.
Everybody needs somebody to feel superior to. Mm-hmm. And sometimes it's literally just I feel better than you and I am better than you because I make more money. So therefore introduce OnlyFans. Now I'm upset. Mm-hmm. Or it's you have a better degree and therefore I am better than you or whatever it might be. But it's just always, again, we just always coming up with new ways to make ourselves feel more whole instead of doing the work that would actually create us being whole. We rather like we rather achieve artificial shit or acquire artificial shit and put our worth into that instead of just being whole spiritual beings. So yeah, it's a weird place, this world we live in, this America, I will say, because it's not the same everywhere. I will definitely say that. I know life is very different in different places, but yeah, this society here, something else. Yeah, but so to say you are or aren't down with your partner doing all these things.
Yeah, I think like you, I would have to maybe be in the situation, but I guess if I just think about it, I guess just off the surface, I don't think I would care that much. But yeah, it would depend on what, because porn no, but a male OnlyFans, I don't even know what men put on their OnlyFans, so I guess I would have to know that. Yeah,
if y'all got OnlyFans and you're listening to this podcast, send them my way.
Especially if you're a man, I want to know what goes on men's OnlyFans.
Oh, that's what I'm talking about. Yeah. Women. But see, and the thing about OnlyFans for me is that like, and we talked about this, like I don't know what would be up there that I would want, that I would pay money for. And that's no shade. I'm just saying, like, I don't know if OnlyFans. I know
Safari is over there rolling in dough. So.
Oh, Safari got OnlyFans page. I bet he is rolling in dough.
I bet he is. He got a big old shalom.
And think about that though. Like, it doesn't get any more iconic. It's like that's like having a YouTube channel and being YouTube famous. Like, you ain't even got to leave the house to make stacks of money.
I was gonna say, if there's one thing that you can be doing to make ducats on a pandemic, it's being some sort of social media famous.
Yeah.
Like YouTubers are still making their ducats. TikTokers, OnlyFanners, like all these people are like, oh, you're essential working or you're unemploying. Sucks to suck. About to go get my custom Bentley. About to go pick it up.
Right.
Shit. Well, fuck me. Okay, girl. I ain't mad at you.
Right.
Shit.
Right. Can't beat that. Okay.
Can't beat that with a stick.
I like this question. This is a good one. This is one for the books.
Yeah. So if y'all want to answer that, you can answer when you are posting and tagging us if you want, or you can of course always come back to our Instagram or our Twitter Probably our Instagram.
Yeah, DM us. I wish we had.
Yeah, I want to know. Are you okay with your partner doing sex work? And keeping in mind that sex work doesn't mean sexual intercourse, people. It can, but it doesn't have to mean that. So if you would accept it or be okay with it, what are your conditions or your exceptions to those rules?
I'm gonna put when I upload this podcast, I'm gonna put a poll in my IG story and see what the people say. I feel like
that too.
I'm gonna get a lot of no's.
Record this sound bites.
Yep.
Yeah. All right, Cindy, do you have any black on black support for us?
Yes,
for the people?
Absolutely. Sorry, I thought I had it pulled up. Let me get that real quick. Okay, and we are ready to go. Mine is a shout out to the Crown Collective, the Crowned Collective. That is at the.crowned collective on Instagram. I'm going to read their mission statement and their vision so you can know exactly what it is I'm telling you to follow. But the Crown Collective is a platform curated by a group of black women. You know, I love our good sis out here doing the things. With one end goal in mind, to create a space for the black community that will provide support, education, and social reform. The Crown Collective recognizes that the current system imposes social injustices on the black community. As a result, we plan to use research and collective efforts within the black community to organize and mobilize permanent solutions to revolutionize the broken systems that are currently in place. Yes, mission statement. And the vision is the connection of black activists, educators, lawyers, therapists, and social workers to collectively empower, enrich, and rebuild our black community. If I'm not mistaken, it is a group of either 5 or 6 women. I know that one of them is a African-American female who is an educator, and I know one of them is an African-American female who is in law school. I went to school with at least 2 of the members of the Crown Collective, or not members, but the chairs, the organizers, the creators of such. Some things that they've done so far, it is a relatively new group. So yes, follow them at the.crown collective on Instagram. Is they had a mass drive, and their next thing they're going to be doing is a school supplies drive. So here for that, because as Diamond, who is one of the creators, was telling me that, that's something that our children are going to need. Their parents haven't been working all this time, potentially because of the pandemic, or they're just making enough to make ends meet because maybe hour cuts and stuff like that at their jobs. So just making sure our kids have what they need to either be homeschooled, which I hope is going to be what the next moves are, or go back to school, and just taking some of that pressure off of our black moms and dads. You know what I'm saying? So I'm here for it. So yes, please follow the.crown collective to get more information about their initiatives, their actions in the community, what they're doing. Shout out to those 5 or 6 ladies, I think it's 5 actually, who started that. I am fully supporting. I'm proud of y'all. Shout out to y'all. Y'all check that out on IG.
My black on black support first is a shout out to my good sis Lauren Watkins, who has announced that she is pregnant. Hey. And y'all can hold me to this. I am saying that she will be giving birth to a little boy on January 4th.
Okay.
They don't think they know what the gender is or when it's gonna be born, but I'm claiming that because I had read a fortune cookie, I think the day she told me, and basically that's what it said. So that's what I'm saying. And then I want to send a shout out, of course, to Dr. Priscilla Johnson, again, for giving us a coupon code for her website, ecodaisyusa.com. That is cleaning supplies, hand sanitizer, soap, dish soap, detergent, etc. And we have some in our giveaway, y'all. We have a couple of goodies from her website there. So if you are shopping on her website, The Living Room 10, to save some coins off of your purchase. I am really excited. I'm waiting on my disinfectant wipes now. I can't wait to clean all of the things. Y'all know how I get down.
Yes, we do.
And then I wanted to send another big shout out to Jazzy from Black Sunflower Co.
Yes.
Because she not only sent us goodies for our giveaway, some amazing smelling candles, but said she also gifted one for each of us, which I thought was hella exciting.
Yes.
And I had already ordered a candle from her website, so I was like, oh, yes, I'm here for as soon as all these little candles in my house from TJ Maxx burn out. Go ahead and get the little switcheroo to a black-owned brand. So
and it's one of the ones, of course, in our giveaway. But also, when I looked at the picture that you posted, I was like, I don't know if y'all are understanding, but there's a candle called Melanin.
Yes.
Like,
and
what?
she has one called Tall, Dark, and Handsome. But melanin, the you know, like the labels say like what it smells like. It says sunshine, and I'm like, what the fuck do sunshine smell like? It smells like sunshine. I lifted the lid and I smelled it and I was like, this smells like black.
That is amazing
like
to
people.
me.
It smells like sunshine. It smells
yeah,
like
when she was talking about making them and like how, and this is another reason why I think everybody out there who loves candles or just wants to support a good black business, a black female owned business also. When she said that she won't make her candles if her energy isn't right because she's not going to put those that energy into her products, I was like, you know, and this is why y'all all and us included, all need to be shopping at black and or small and or woman or queer owned businesses, because when they're small owned like that, people care about the energies that they're putting into them. Do you know what kind of negative energy is in the bullshit we probably buy from these major businesses and corporations and stuff because people don't like their fucking jobs, they're not being paid well, they got to work during the pandemic. Like, that shit, you recycles. Or you could be out here.
And I wanted to tell y'all quickly because I saw this yesterday and I was like, oh my God. So let me sign up. She actually has a black box, like, so black sunflower, a black box every month, which includes, this month in particular includes a 9-ounce candle. The scent that she's including this month is the strawberries and whipped cream. And y'all, I have the peaches and cream one, and it is literally to die for. It's amazing. It smells like peach cobbler. It's just, it's so good. So this August one has strawberries and whipped cream candle, a hydrating scrub, a body butter, 20 incense, and a sage bundle for $50. $50 for all of those things. Mind y'all, her candles are like $25, $30. So $50 for all of those things. Not only is that amazing for one, but for two, like we just said, when you're putting your energies into your products, especially something like candles, etc., like the queen is giving us sage in our bundle boxes. And we all know we only want good energy even around our sage for when we need to burn it, okay? So for one, y'all need to go over to blacksunflower.co, and that's black without the A, blacksunflower.co. Jazzy is the one who owns this company, and sign up for that black box, y'all. I'm trying to tell y'all right now, you need it, okay? You need it, because do we not need to cleanse and sage and burn things every month, okay? Like clockwork, just like we cleaning our tubs and our floors and our doorknobs and light switches and dishes. We got to clean and we got to cleanse. Clean and cleanse. You got it?
Absolutely.
Cool. So that is my black on black support.
Yes, ma'am. All right.
I wanted to give one quick mention again, y'all.
My B.
You good. One quick mention again to the book of the month, which mine was How to Remain Innocent by James Duane. And the reason I wanted to bring that up again, y'all, is because I think it's so important for you to know your rights, not to waive your rights. The book talks about the importance of pleading the fifth versus requesting the sixth. It's very important to know the difference and why that is. The book is short, y'all. You need it. Order it today. Do it today. I'm excited to start reading my August read, but I don't want to tell y'all what that is yet. So book of the month for July, I did just finish it, but it's still How to Remain Innocent by James Duane. So pick that up.
Alrighty.
And let's move on.
Mental health check-in. I just would like to say it's my mental health check-in is also my affirmation, and that is simply to be kind to dark women. And I feel like, of course, you have women being kind to black women and dark women in general, because like I told y'all the other week, that essay by Audre Lorde really just made me sit back and think about the ways in which sometimes we can be so callous towards each other because we are reflections of each other, and because we've been taught to hate ourselves. I hate you because I see me in you, kind of thing. So say that to say, doing that self-work and getting rid of all that self-hate, but then just in general being kind to each other as women. But then black men and men in general, I am calling upon you all to be kind to dark women, to speak out against 50 Cent and Lil Wayne's and Chris Brown's and anybody else that perpetuates colorism in their lyrics, in their podcasts, in their art, in their movies and shows and shit. Because as we have seen, Disney is has been out here giving us the work all this time. Ooh, so I just want to say, and check in on your dark friends, you know what I'm saying? Because this world, you know, they've been born into a world that really puts a lot of hate on them and in them. And so that will be the mental health part, but then the affirmation part being just to be kind and be and be loving and love on dark people in general, because they just have a lot of bullshit to deal with. You know what I'm saying? If America gets us a cold and black people get the flu, then dark people and women get corona and or just end up dead. So you know, speaking figuratively. So
hospital beds.
Okay. So yeah, that is both my affirmation and my mental health check-in. So, you know, y'all vibe out to this good old music. Aisha's gonna tell you about it, because, you know, we put it at the beginning and the end of our podcast, and she gonna give you her mental health check-in and her affirmations. So I'm gonna go ahead and sign off and tell y'all I love y'all. Thank y'all for rocking with us. Oh yes, rate, subscribe, leave a comment on Apple Podcasts if you're listening to Apple Podcasts, because more people can find us. We need y'all to do that. You know, check us out on YouTube. Our YouTube is up to date finally. So if
finally, and I'll go ahead and throw this episode up there too. It ain't got no descriptions because I ain't got that far.
Yeah, I'm supposed to be doing a description. So I was gonna say, it's my fault it ain't been up there. So for any of y'all to be listening to us on YouTube, that's my fault. Put all that on me. Shout out to Aisha for getting that updated. But yeah, we will have our descriptions and stuff up there. But just give, you know, saying that we are finally back up there too. So, you know, subscribe, rate, like, tell your friends, and that is it for me. I love y'all. Stay black, stay proud, stay safe. I'm out.
My mental health was gonna be just disconnect, and not even just in a sense of social media at times, but disconnect from people that are not serving you the way that you need to be served, and not loving you the way that you require to be loved. If someone is not speaking out for you and your best interests because they feel like they don't have to relate to being maybe dark skinned or being queer or being trans or being what have you, if they are your friend and they're choosing this side of silence or opposition, then they are not your friend, girl, and it's okay. Cut them off. Everybody, I'm sorry. I know that people like to argue with me on this. Everybody don't deserve an explanation, and I don't deserve to have to give you one every time. You're not serving me, and maybe one day you'll figure out that you weren't, and you can come back to me. Life can come full circle, and forgiveness and healing can happen. But I strongly am of the opinion that if somebody is hurting you, and they know that they're hurting you because you're posting about it. I mean, at the very least, like, I'm posting about it and saying what is hurting me, and you don't come to my defense, to my rescue, to save me and love on me like you claim to do for the World Wide Web, then you just don't serve me, and I can disconnect from you. I don't need to be tethered to any energy that is not serving me, that is not positive, that does not help me grow. Bye. Peace out, Cub Scout.
Okay.
So disconnect is my mental health check-in for you guys. And my affirmation is very simple. I love you.
That's so sweet.
No matter where you are, no matter what you're thinking, what you're going through, I just want to reach out and say that I love you. We are grateful that you come to listen to us being ratchet and raggedy sometimes. We're grateful for you guys. And Sydney, I'm grateful to you. I love you. You're my best thing. I've been thinking about wow, we've really been doing this for a year. I'm so grateful. I'm like overwhelmed by the giveaway in a good way, because I'm just like, wow, we really made it to a year. Like, when we was really just like, hey, what's up? You trying to do a podcast?
Right.
Cool. Like, what time do we need to meet up at the studio? So I'm just grateful. I just want to say I love you. If you haven't heard that today from somebody you love, then you just heard it from me, and you heard it from Sydney. We love you guys very much. Have a blessed and awesome week, and we will see y'all next week. Don't forget about our giveaway. And I'm just going to turn this TheGuySolomon right back up, because I'm ready to vibe out. Peace.
In hindsight, I've been preparing for this day. Like my papa always say, the way you make your bed, remember you gotta lay in. I stuff the match with dreams that money can't buy. Don't get it twisted, you can see it in my eyes. No, I'm all about a dollar. Pop my collar, make them holler from the cradle to the grave. No, I kept it playing. And I'm gon' grind until the day I die. And I'll be damned if a nigga don't shine. I gotta get mine, I put it all on the lines. They been sleeping on the kid, I wake them up, I'm right on time. I do this for my niggas on the block getting dope. I do this for my sisters, know your mind made a go. I do this for my people worldwide across the globe. Throw your hands in the sky and let them know. I pull it from the ground and got it off the muscle, trying to right my wrongs. Lord knows it's been a long time coming in this marathon. A moment of silence for Nipsey Hussle. Thinking to myself like, man, they took a real one. Before I die, legend, leave a legacy behind for my children. That's the knowledge and the power I was given. That's the generation mission statement. You can find my footprints on the pavement. I've been walking, chalking up the days like my payday coming. I can feel it in my stomach. It's more than just hunger. I got problems to conquer. They gave my brother a number and locked him up in the system. I roll another. Strike a match and catch fire. Hold my lighter to the sky and burn the house down. I pack the house out. You know the vibe to get your hype and bring the house down. I want it right now. Screaming, it's my time. I want it right now. And now I'm gon' grind until the day I die. And I'll be damned if a nigga don't shine. I gotta get mine, I put it all on the lines. They been sleeping on the kid, I wake them up, I'm right on time. I do this for my niggas on the block getting dope. I do this for my sisters, know your mind made a go. I do this for my people worldwide across the globe. Throw your hands in the sky and let them know, let them know. For my niggas on the block getting dope. I do this for my sisters, know your mind made a go. I do this for my people worldwide across the globe. Throw your hands in the sky, let them know, let them know. I do this for my niggas on the